Hey guys, Lucas here again for another movie review. Today it's for one of my most anticipated films of the year, Argo, which is directed and starring Ben Affleck, and also includes Bryan Cranston, Alan Arkin, John Goodman, and many more. And I would say probably about 3 to 4 years ago, Ben Affleck was the brunt of my jokes along with many other people because he just made crappy movie after crappy movie. I mean, Geely, like one of the worst movies ever. Reindeer Games, Pearl Harbor, just the list goes on. I mean, obviously he was in a few good things, Good Will Hunting, Changing Lanes, and there were some other things that I enjoyed him in, or the movies itself were good, but I didn't think the guy was a good actor. And then 2010 came along, The Town I saw in the theater, and now The Town is one of my favorite movies. It was the first movie I saw him direct. I saw Gone Baby Gone maybe like a year ago. And the guy has not only become one of my favorite directors, but also seems to be one of the most promising directors working today, in most people's opinion. And I saw Gone Baby Gone, also blew away, and I think this guy is a fantastic director now, and I'm so excited for whatever he puts out. And especially when I heard the premise for this movie, which is a true story in 1979 with the Iranian hostage crisis, when 6 members of the U.S. embassy in Iran get taken, it gets overrun, and they're hostages, but they escape to the Canadian ambassador's house, and the Iranians are looking for them to kill them. So Ben Affleck's character, Tony Mendez, who in real life concocted this plan to make a fake movie, pretend to scout Iran as a location, and smuggle the hostages out of there. It's crazy, and it's a true story, but I was so intrigued by the premise, and I loved Argo. It's one of my favorite movies of the year. I thought the story for this movie was so engaging, especially because it's a true story. All the characters really keep the movie going at a steady pace for the most part, but it's just so engaging, even if it was just on its own, but just the fact that it's a true story just makes it so much more, you get so invested. And I just thought the acting all around is phenomenal. I mean, the cast is great. Just by the poster, you know that the acting is going to be good, because you got Bryan Cranston, John Goodman, Alan Arkin, all in the same movie. Even the guy from Seven Psychopaths, I forget that guy's name, is in this movie. There's just a lot of great stuff, great actors in here. I loved Bryan Cranston in this movie. He plays one of the CIA agents, or one of the guys that worked for the CIA. I loved him. He was actually my personal favorite out of the cast, but I think most people are going to like John Goodman, who plays a real-life makeup artist. I'm forgetting his name, but he was the makeup artist for the original Planet of the Apes. And Alan Arkin, who was Lester something or other. I don't know if he was a real producer or not. I think his character might have been made up. But they were both the kind of comedic relief, and they're definitely the scene stealers. There's a lot of great lines from them. The script's also fantastic. The script's not written by Ben Affleck like the other two films. This guy named Chris Terrio has great dialogue, great pacing, and the script was phenomenal. I just loved all the acting, and that combined with Ben Affleck's, like, at this point, just super competent directing. I mean, the guy's made 3 movies, and he's been getting comparisons to Martin Scorsese, and I think if he keeps this up, he might even he could definitely get to that status, because the guy sure knows how to direct this movie. This is a very tricky movie to do with this, because this movie has a surprising amount of comedy, especially coming from John Goodman and Alan Arkin's characters, like I said. And this is a very serious thing, especially because it was a true story, so you can't take this subject matter that light. But the way that Ben Affleck and the script really balance the comedy and the drama in here without it feeling like they're not taking this super serious situation unseriously, that is a big feat, and they pulled that off phenomenally. I thought for the most part the movie was paced very well, and then it's crazy to know the amount of shots that were actually taken from real life. As you see in the credits, there's a lot of shots in the movie, and they showed that, and the real shots that they took influence from, and they're exactly the same. So I loved how true to the situation and the event that Ben Affleck chose with this made it seem very realistic. And the first 15 minutes of this movie are terrifying. I mean, it's really just well done. Just you honestly feel horrible and sad for these people, but at the same time you're scared shitless. I just thought that the movie was, especially in the last 20-25 minutes or so, this movie does not let you breathe. There was a time where I just had to take a deep breath and was like, you're like, okay, just, you're in a movie right now, it's going to be okay, because the last 25 minutes of this movie are so tense, so suspenseful, you're on the edge of your seat, you're so invested in these characters and in this story that it never lets up when they're trying to get out of this situation. Your heart is beating throughout, and it's very tense, very taut, and I think to me this movie is pretty much flawless. I mean, The Town, Gone Baby Gone to me are both flawless movies. I love both of those movies, and I like this because it's not taking place in Boston like the other two. It's a very different movie for Ben Affleck that was refreshing. And to tell you the truth, the only complaint I have with, and it's not even that big of a complaint, I just felt like in the middle, there was like a 10-15 minute period where it slows down a little bit for me, and I was getting a little bit, not bored, but a little bit more disinterested than I was in the first and last half. I just wasn't connecting with it as much in this period just because it was a little bit slow, but you'll get over that very quickly. This movie is fantastic. I think it's a very important movie for people to see because the person I saw it with was alive when this situation was happening, and they really can connect to it, and they felt bad for not knowing more about this situation when it was happening. So I think it's a very important movie to see with someone, especially with someone older than you or someone that was alive when this situation was happening. Well, The Town's one of my favorite movies, and so I like The Town and probably Gone Baby Gone a little bit more than this movie, but that's not to say that this movie is more important than those, and I would recommend this movie more than those other films, even though I like them more just because I think this is a more important film to see. So I loved Argo. It's one of the best of the year for sure. Ben Affleck's 3 for 3. I'm going to give this movie a very strong 4.5 out of 5. There's very little wrong with it. I loved it, and Ben Affleck can basically do no wrong. So that was my review of Argo. Please let me know what you thought of the movie. If you've seen it, please let me know what you think of Ben Affleck as a director. Comment down below. Subscribe here or wherever I put the annotation. And I'll see you guys later.